Welcome back to Love of One podcast, as today I'm joined by Attila of Aluna Healing Center to talk about the grandfather medicine Hauchuma, or otherwise known as San Pedro, the cactus. We recorded this session during Mercury retrograde, and naturally, we hit a few connection glitches halfway through. The video on Attila's side still gets a little grainy, but the medicine of the message came through perfectly. So let's dive into a heart-opening conversation on healing, emotion, and remembrance with one of my absolute favorite plant medicines, Hauchuma. Welcome back to Love of One podcast. Today I am so excited, honored, and grateful to have Attila here with me to talk about Hauchuma, otherwise known as San Pedro medicine. I feel like ayahuasca, although lovely and also a beautiful teacher of mine, gets a lot of conversation in the healing spectrum and spiritual world and communities. But I feel like Hauchuma, otherwise as San Pedro, doesn't get as much, and it's just as beautiful and in a different way. So I'm excited to have this discussion with Attila from Aluna Healing Center. Attila, I love to dive right into these. And could you just explain a little bit about your background and then what led you down this path of the medicine of San Pedro?
Yeah. Thank you first of all for the invitation. Lovely to be here, and I
Of
always
course.
love to speak about this medicine because it's also one of my favorites next to ayahuasca. Um, and I want to make my story relatively short. I got into plant medicine during the time when I was in a corporate world. I was in a corporate world for 20 odd years, working for companies like Procter and Gamble and Unilever and McKinsey and all these multinationals. And I started drinking ayahuasca actually 25 years ago in the Santo Daime Church in Amsterdam. That's for the first time where she really sort of kicked my ass and said, "This is what you're doing is not your mission. This is not your purpose. You need to do something else." And what you're doing is pleasing your father and, all the parts inside of me, which were not connected to my inner truth. So curiosity was the big thing for me. I could have walked away and say, I'm just going to go in my comfort zone and continue my path in the corporate world. But over time, I left the corporate world. And it was really a combination between ayahuasca and San Pedro. It's a beautiful combination where ayahuasca is really the plant medicine, the grandmother who really goes deep into your subconscious, into, really putting light on the root causes of things and really giving you the truth. And then Hauchuma is really a beautiful medicine. It's a grandfather also, and it's really nice to integrate your ayahuasca experience. So I've been, when we had our first retreat center in Portugal, we did a lot of ayahuasca and San Pedro, one day, and then the next day, Hauchuma. And we figured out actually that the Hauchuma is such a beautiful medicine to integrate in a beautiful way. I always say that that Hauchuma is the natural MDMA because you're so open, wide open. All the chakras are so open. Your eyesight is just, like an eagle eye, I would say, and you can connect with yourself, with your feelings, and so much also in terms of connecting with nature. And when that retreat center burned down and we started our retreats here in California, we introduced it that way, and that's how I got across Hauchuma in my life.
No, that's amazing. I know from my personal experience that it's a little different. mm, It's a little different feelings, I guess, and I get than an ayahuasca or psilocybin even. And can you explain a little bit on the most basic level too, for those who've never experienced it, of what it really does and helps clear and gets deeper into, from your perspective.
Yeah. So I always think it's all about the feeling, right? I always say the healing is in the feeling. And Hauchuma really is a medicine where you are feeling for 12, 16 hours. So it's a very long journey. It comes on slowly. And then when it's up and you just in your body and you feel so much, especially when you have your eyes closed, it just continues. And if you are sick of feeling, then just continues for another, whatever, 8 or 12 hours. So I think the feeling is like if you've ever taken a combination between MDMA and psilocybin, which is, by the way, a
Mm,
beautiful combination to take, it really opens up your chakras. When you're on San
mhm,
Pedro, from my experience, is obviously it opens up the heart. But then over time, it really opens up the crown chakra. It opens up your root. You actually get Sometimes you get really sexual aroused also a little bit because that sexual energy is also really, getting activated. And it's especially, like I said, when you close your eyes, you lay down, you put the eye mask on, then you can really go into your journey. And I always say that it's like a salami of your feelings, and that salami needs to be like cut into little slices. Because if not, you get an
mm,
overwhelmed, not in a bad way, because Wachuma is very soft and gentle. It's not like ayahuasca where you might, get into a phase of not knowing, what to do, or it's getting too strong, the medicine, or all that.
mm,
It's very, very gentle, and it is over time very much aligning. I always say it's aligning my mind, my heart, my solar plexus, and my sex. It's really because of Wachuma. When you look
mhm,
at the cactus, it is a very phallic sort of being, and you feel that when you take the
mhm,
mescaline, and the medicine is from not the inside of the cactus, but from the peel of the cactus. So when you take that on over the time of the journey, all your chakras are so open, especially the root chakra, and especially when you've done ayahuasca prior, the root chakra is anyway super
mhm,
open, and you have healed and transformed a lot of, traumas or, patterns, fears, anxiety, whatever. So your root chakra is very open, so you're very connected to Mother Earth. And then the crown chakra gets very opened up. So you're very connected to the universe. So you really feel by
mhm.
all these chakras open, you feel like your body is a vessel. And so you can get all these
Yeah.
messages. It's really yeah, it's a beautiful way of doing that without getting the mind. The mind is just totally like shut out. It's really about feeling and getting into your emotions and getting answers through that.
Yeah, like the MDMA through healing, it shuts that part of your mind off and you're just really anchored in. So I can see where you're saying it's very similar to if you were to take psilocybin and MDMA together, which I have not done yet, but I could see like how that is a good explanation of how it kind of works in conjunction with that, like and throughout your whole body. Um,
Mhm.
now I've never gotten sick off San Pedro because you said he's very gentle, which I found to
Mhm.
be true on your body, for the most part, depending on your
Mhm.
journey. But
Right.
I've never purged like I do with ayahuasca. Is that true for everybody? Do you see? Because you've
Yeah.
journeyed with so many and helped so many on this medicine.
Yeah, I would say 9 out of 10 don't purge. Um,
Mm,
and it's not really about, I think the reason when people purge is they take the medicine too fast. So how I dose it is I
mm,
have 4 glasses for each person, and we start early in the morning. We drink the first glass, then we have an hour between the first and the second glass, and then there's another hour between the second and the
mhm,
third glass, and so on. And some people, they're fine with it, and some people it's just overwhelming the body because the powder from the cactus is very bitter, super bitter. So
mhm,
I do a little bit of apple juice, a little bit of water. Um, but some people are just, it's too much. So what I do is I then don't give the second glass. And I said to them, first, like, sit out the second glass, and your second glass is then the third glass. So I slow the dosage down. So there's no purge. And we don't want people to purge because this medicine is so valuable because it takes 3.5 to 4 feet of cactus for one journey. And 3.5 and 4 feet of cactus, that takes a long time for that cactus to grow, and that's the masculine you need
for sure.
to really go deep. So I'm very, very careful,
Mhm.
and I always ask people before I give another dose, do you feel nausea in any way? And if they do a little bit, then I must say a lot of women, have that sometime. Then I basically slow down and slow down the dosage.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wow, I didn't realize the process of how much versus like of the cactus and yeah, it takes a long time to grow a cactus, so I can imagine, like, yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. I don't think people really grasp that,
Mm.
piece of
Yeah.
it. And I
Yeah.
also
And the
thought
other
it was
thing,
inside of the cactus, not the
no, it's only the peel. So what's also interesting is every Hauchuma is also different. So you need to understand the cactus world, like coffee world or the tea world, it's like a science
yeah.
by itself, you know?
Sure.
So every cactus has a
Mhm.
different strength of masculine in the peel. So, some
Mhm.
cactuses you see, you peel them off, and you process the peel and nothing really happens because the masculine is just very, very low. So it also depends on the color, the greener and the darker the color of the cactus is, the more masculine there is in the peel.
Oh, interesting. Wow. So
Mhm.
I've taken it 3 times now with Aluna Healing Center and you. And I was curious. So the first time I took it after, like in the immersion retreats where you take 2 days of ayahuasca, a day of rest, and then a San Pedro. And it was so profound and so beautiful and intense for me. Everyone's journey is different. And then I wanted to try it outside of ayahuasca. So I came back just for San Pedro journey. And then although I found it very profound and beautiful, I felt like it wasn't as
Mhm.
after taking it
Yeah.
after an ayahuasca journey, because I felt like in the immersion, so I came back again for the immersion, and I feel like when you take ayahuasca for the couple days, it's almost like Hachuma finishes the story
Yeah.
of your week, right? Just
Mhm.
wraps it up into a nice container, and then you're like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get it now."
Yeah.
Like, do other
Totally.
people report back a similar
Yeah,
story of
I mean,
that?
for some, I personally, I'm totally with you. I think if you want to, and but that's the reason why we call it immersion retreat, right? If you really want to immerse yourself, and it's a lot. It's 2 nights of ayahuasca, and
Mm.
then the wachuma. For some people, that's a lot of medicine in 5 days. And you know us, we like to go
Yeah.
deep. We don't like to like be on the
Yes.
surface because if you come, you're going deep. Um, for some people, so I get it, and I also recommend to anybody who wants to really immerse themselves to do it the same way as you did with the immersion retreat. The other option that
Uh-huh.
that could work for people is come 2 nights of ayahuasca, and then you do an integration period of 2 months, and then you come back for San Pedro. So you actually have a little bit of time to integrate what ayahuasca has told you in your quote unquote real life. And
Uh-oh,
then afterwards, you
I gave out.
basically come back and integrate with Wachuma 2 or 3 months after that. That also works. But
Mhm.
I agree with you that coming into the container, it's also about coming in the container as a newcomer, because there are people who have done the whole immersion retreat, and then people are coming in as new in the container. It always feels a little
Uh-huh.
bit weird, because we are co-creating this container together. Then we have new people just coming
Uh-huh.
for the Machuma, and then having the immersion, retreat people there. It's always a little bit of a clash, for that ceremony.
I would agree with that just from my own experience. Like, when you're there with the immersion, you're there, and all of a sudden, I feel like the last time we were there, someone said, "I feel like we've been here for 5 months," like throughout the
Exactly.
whole experience, and you do
Yeah.
feel that. And then when you have someone else come in and you kind of feel like, "Oh," and I've been on the other end of that, where I
Mhm.
came in just for San
Mhm.
Pedro, and I felt like an outsider coming
Right.
into their story.
Totally.
And so it was a little. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I experienced that myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Uh,
just speaking about it, I would love to have people like you come to Aluna like on a
uh,
regular basis. So we have
uh-huh,
these immersion retreats, and that is so profound when you have these immersion retreats for people who know the medicine and who are ready to do another reset. And then just people who
yeah,
know each other and are familiar with everything, familiar with us,
yeah.
and just like doing it on a regular basis, the whole thing.
Like in
I think, yeah,
advanced
like an
class,
advanced
yes.
immersion. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Can we not just talk about everything and just dive in and, like, get going? Yes, that's how I would feel. Yeah.
Exactly,
At this
exactly.
point in my process.
Totally, totally get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually also a little tired of saying the same thing all over, again, for the newcomers and so sometimes, So I let the
Yeah.
NTO guys actually,
Yeah.
come, and do it. But I just love the second night and the third sharing and so on. When the medicine has worked, I'm like, whoa,
Mhm.
this is magic, how the medicine actually gives you these messages. And in these sharings, it's just this is this is why I do it. This is why I love this work so much,
Yeah.
because every journey and every group is so different, and the messages are coming in like super creative ways.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm always like astonished at the end of the immersion for people who've been there throughout the whole
Mhm.
week. Just like such profound healing is happening in that circle with these
Oh,
medicines together. And I think
yeah.
that at one cohort, we kind of were laughing and giggling, but it was so true where we were saying how the grandmother kind of slaps you around and then you're like, oh, she really took a beating on me. And then grandfather is like, come and sit on my lap. What did grandma do to you? Let me make it okay. Like,
Yeah. Yes,
and I just love those two together. But even
totally.
separately by itself, it's still profound and still such a
Hmm.
good teacher. Um,
Hmm.
what I really liked about it, and I wonder if others kind of feel similar is and have the same kind of things happen is because he's the grandfather, he's the masculine. Every single time I've sat with him, all of my
Hmm.
paternal ancestors light up in a row. Like
Yeah.
every single time I've seen my mother's side and my father's side from my grandfather all the way from great to great great to great great and on, all there supporting me during the entire process. Do other people? Because I
Yes.
know some of my cohorts in the past have said my grandfather from the other side came in and I properly got to bury him. And I remember them leaving the yurt and then in circle saying, I just had a burial for my grandfather. And it was
Hmm.
beautiful because I needed that for myself to move on and
Hmm.
heal. And do you find that that's happening a lot with these
Hmm.
ceremonies with San Pedro?
Yeah, I mean that's very typical for San Pedro, that you can tap into your
Mhm,
ancestral lines. Um, I also
mhm,
visually, when you are on the medicine, I have seen the Pomo Indians, the Native Americans who have resided here, and they were sitting when I went out of the yurt on San Pedro. They were just sitting there and celebrating us. And it was like, whoa,
mhm.
they're really here, not only in spirit, but I see them. And so,
Physically.
yeah, yeah, and physically, yeah. So, yes, the answer is definitely yes. It is known that Wachuma, if you are open for it and closing your eyes, feeling the ancestral, energies, and not maybe only your grandfather or grandmother. This can be, really lines going back, several generations for sure.
Mm, yeah, it's interesting you said that. So when we started this conversation, you were talking about how you can really see things, right? You could just your crown is really open and your root, and it just kind of like a clear channel with
Yeah.
all of your senses. And every time I always see with I see everything because I just very clairvoyant, but
Yeah. No.
but it's a different visual. I would agree with San Pedro, it's like to me, ayahuasca takes me out into the cosmos, but San Pedro keeps me here grounded on this earth, but I can see the different realms within this planet that
Yeah.
are here in the planet, not just the cosmos. Like I'm always connected with the fairies, the Native Americans. I
Yeah.
had all of them surrounding me to kick off my ceremony on my very last one this last April. And so, yeah, I saw all of the Native Americans, and then halfway through, they said, "Okay, we've done enough to you, and
Mhm.
thank you for clearing that." So they closed the circle with me outside.
Wow.
And then I'm pretty sure a few of us saw like a dinosaur
Mhm.
off to the side at Aluna, and
Wow.
and we reported it the next day separately and differently.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's really
so
magic.
these
I mean,
visions.
yeah.
Hmm.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just you're
So
talking
these
about the
visions,
yeah.
everyone yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to say the eye. So the visions is one thing, and then the eye is also like I was talking about an eagle's eye earlier, right? So this medicine is very interesting because when you close your eyes, your journey begins. And like, from Aluna, you lay on the mattress, you put your blindfold on, and you really go into your feelings and try to really analyze, what am I feeling right now? And really, like I said, slice that salami into slices. When you open your eyes and you go outside and you look into a flower, for example, you see the life of the flower. You see it breathing. You see everything moving. You see the insects. It's amazing, how the human eye can actually be even more effective and see clearly and see the details, on this medicine. So it's both. I think it's really the energetic part, the ancestral part, and feeling the energies, but also really seeing with an eye visually different things that you cannot really see with your normal eye.
Oh my gosh, yes. The stars. To me, they always look like they're dangling from the sky. They're like literally dangling, like a light bulb on one of those cords. Like all the
Right.
stars are doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
true.
It's
It's true.
amazing. It really puts you in touch. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing that I want to mention is the conversations that you can have with a
Yeah.
person that you
Uh-huh.
want to have a conversation with. So heart opening. There's so much crying. I seen men in my men's retreat. Wow. Two men talking to each other for the first time, eye to eye,
Mhm.
and they compliment each other and appreciate the other and spreading love from within each other and with being on Wachuma, it is so beautiful and it is so healing. And it's not coming from the mind, it's like non-conditional. So we always talk about non-conditional or unconditional love, unconditional. That's what Wachuma is. There's no conditions. There is no judgment, and
Yeah.
there is just what you want to do, you do, and what you don't want to do, you don't do.
Yeah. And he does really go really deep into your emotions. I think you've said many times, just when you're thought you're feeling enough, he takes you
Hmm.
deeper to make you feel even more. And I've
Yeah.
definitely felt that to be
Yeah.
true every
Hmm.
single time. And even the
Hmm.
last time, my very first time with him, he made me, you were there, and remember, he made me stay on the mattress for 12 hours solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
even when
know.
I thought I had to go to the bathroom, he's like, "No, you're not going to the bathroom." And then I saw my urine move in fractals up from my body and dissipate into the sky, and I was like, Okay, so I guess I'm not moving." And then, the third time, he made me stay outside for, like, almost the 12 hours, so he was the opposite, and made me
Mhm.
move through so
Yes.
many emotions and release that I just felt like I could never really do even from a collective standpoint, so I had to release a bunch of collective
Yeah.
stuff into the land, so, um, I love
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
he's such a beautiful teacher too. He kind of paves the way of what to do next. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So I always talk about alignment. Alignment of all the chakras. So the messages that you get also prior, if you had ayahuasca before, it's really like looking into your heart and your truth and see what messages are in alignment with yourself or things in your life you feel into it, like, okay, is this relationship in alignment with me? And if not, what I'm going to do about it. If yes, you will so feel it that yes, this is my truth, this is my alignment, and this is good for me.
Yeah.
um, and that's the reason why I think this integration piece is so beautiful with this medicine.
Oh boy. Yeah.
So
That screams loud.
yeah, and very much. It's really, and I mean, for me, why I love this medicine, I get all these messages, and it takes discipline though, because you feel so in love with the world, right? There's so much compassion, and you want to talk to everyone or whatever. Then you have to say no. It's actually a very beautiful message, medicine where You can go to somebody, but if you feel this conversation is not in alignment with you anymore, you say, thank you very much. I have to go back to my own energy.
Mm.
Because, so you can really, teach yourself what you are doing for pleasing people, or, wanting to be loved, or wanting to be funny, or I don't know, whatever, versus, no, this is not an alignment with myself. I need to go back into my own energy,
Mm.
and that it's so profound when you're on this medicine.
No, that's beautiful. And that speaks loud, because my last one, before my ceremony really got started, it seems like he had to really address one thing that I hadn't let go of. That was one of my
Mm.
biggest lessons. And it was time for me to see it. And I think I sat in it for what I don't, when you're on this medicine, time is like, I don't know, but it felt like 2 hours
Yes.
solid of me sitting in this and being so bullheaded that no, I've come this far and did all this myself. I can do this too. And he just would not let me do that.
Mhm.
Like, and it was loneliness. And he was showing me all
Right.
my past
Yeah.
relationships. Like, you're done with this. And this is how you're done. And this is why you're done. And this is your step forward. And such a
Right.
beautiful teacher. And that's why I always call him a teacher, because he's
Yeah.
really showing you and
Totally.
telling you in such a way that's not like
Mhm.
bossing you, but showing you the right path to take, like you said, to stay in your center, and giving you ways
Mhm.
to recognize when you're not, and showing you, like, bold
Mhm.
face, no, this is what you're doing, and this
Yeah.
is your patterning, and you've been doing it forever, and we're not doing this anymore. So I love it. I just,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It creates such an awareness in yourself,
Mhm.
and you can take that really into real life and say, hey, I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? What's the driver behind the action that I'm doing, the behavior, or even the thought?
Yeah.
And then, I always say, if you have the awareness, like, if this not in alignment, stop yourself, like, give yourself a red card, stop that thought, stop that behavior, because it comes from a part within yourself that is not healed, or, that still needs attention,
Mhm.
which is mainly coming from a limiting belief, right? That
For sure.
comes from childhood mainly,
Yeah.
or trauma.
Yeah, they showed me it was definitely from childhood. It's always our inner child, right? It's kind of where it always
Mm.
seems like it always starts.
Always. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And then, and I also feel like he's always with you, like ayahuasca too. It's very similar in nature. Like, even when you leave, when you find yourself in
Right.
those situations that we just talked about, right? The red flags. I always kind of he always kind of comes in and revisits my visuals of that day too. So I'm always revisiting when I feel like I'm in that situation of choice. Um, I always get these same visuals
Mhm.
of him coming in and showing me, "No, you've done no." So I feel like they're always with you, like,
Right.
when you drink that medicine, it continues to stay with you throughout, your own journey of
Mhm.
healing, even after you sit with them, is what I've found to
Yeah.
be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah. I think you are saying it beautifully.
mhm,
I feel that, I mean, you're obviously a woman,
mm.
but I feel that this medicine is so good for men
Yeah.
to really get into their, masculinity, but not in a forceful way, but in a graceful way, vulnerable feelings, emotions, open heart. And that's what we call the lion-hearted, right? So, and also being in your center, not being your pleaser, or not being a servant because you need to serve, or you're making it because of the next paycheck or whatever. No, it's because, this is, coming from inside. It's a feeling, it's a devotion, right? It's a lot more than the driver that you have, which is not the lighthearted. It's, being a servant and being slave at the same time. But you need to, so that's all these learnings. I think especially for men, they really understand what it means to be a lion-hearted man. With all the things,
I
all the
love that you pointed that
characteristics.
out, Attila, because for me, I was very much in my masculine, also in the corporate world for 20 plus years, very much in my masculine, always the breadwinner of my family, taking care of everything, the money, the bills, the groceries, the house, the kids, all of it.
Yeah.
And so for me, having the
Yeah.
masculine teacher come in and say, whoa, so I would like to go a
Yeah.
little deeper on that for the male too aspect, because it is true. Like I remember growing up and hearing, everyone tell their sons, don't cry, don't cry. That's not a manly thing. And I'm
Yeah.
assuming and let me know that Wachuma helped you release that a little bit and let those reins go a little bit and show you these emotions that it's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it showed me personally in my path of healing where I was a pleaser, and that was, I was, and my limiting belief was or still is, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to exist in this world.
Mm,
Those are deep down limitations, feelings that I was born with, and my father had it and my grandfather had it. So those are
that's
limitations that came from the lineage.
true.
And I think I made sure that in this lifetime, we're going to transform this. I'm going to heal it. And and now I'm in the stage of my life. I can now give it to other men how my experience was,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and what Schumer helps so much to actually go into the emotions and really understand what vulnerability is and humility, and talking to a man, and not feel competition and not feel he is bigger or better or smart or whatever. He's just another boy,
Yeah.
a boy talking to a boy.
Mm,
And that is so healing just by itself,
mhm.
when you do that together.
I love that. Thank you for sharing, 'cause I don't think that the community really talks a lot about the men coming into their emotions and having permission and giving themselves permission, and this medicine can assist them in that process of letting go.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also, if I might add, is also feeling the notion of in present moment.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things written, power of now with Eckhart Tolle and so on, but
Yeah.
really feeling what that means. And I think what Chuma is a beautiful medicine to sit your ass down and have your eyes closed and feel. No distractions, right? And
Mhm.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I love that.
So being in the present moment, because we men, we are doers, like doing, 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 doing. And if I don't do, I'm a lazy person and there's nothing coming. But that's not it, right? It's the trust is the connection to the universe. I mean, who am I talking to? That's so much. But I mean, I think for a lot of men have an issue with that. And it took me a long time to understand that pushing and pulling and doing all the time, that's not necessarily where the results are. It's about healing yourself, keeping your consciousness high, keeping your vibration high, integrate, and then reset. I always say that it's like a bamboo, a
Mhm.
bamboo has these little, consolidation rings. So, and then the long part is like the integration. So you
Mm.
integrate in the long part and then you stop and then you go to Aluna, you drink medicine, and then you there's a consolidation for yourself and in the reset.
Yeah.
And then there's a long part again in the bamboo, and then you integrate again. And then, that's how the healing goes, I think. And I think the
Yeah.
bamboo actually shows you very well.
Yeah.
And then how flexible the bamboo is also. It's super strong, but it's not like that solid. It's always weaving. It's very
Mhm.
flexible. And I think that's how we should be in our lives,
Oh,
and heal ourselves and serve others in that.
what a beautiful analogy. Bamboo has more meaning than I thought.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. The bamboo.
I do
Awesome.
too. Well, I love this conversation. What is the difference, do you think, between these other plant medicines and psilocybin, just to touch a small point on that?
I think psilocybin, you can go pretty deep with psilocybin, especially when you take, more than 3 grams, 4 or 5 grams. Also depends on the psilocybin. But the psilocybin are very clever.
Mm.
They're very cheeky. They give you a lot of messages. but I don't think they go as deep as ayahuasca. I don't think they go so much into the subconscious. And I think also the clarity that ayahuasca gives you in the messages, the mushrooms are not as clear. Um, Also, I think that the mushrooms are all about oneness because, they grow in in the forest, and they're all connected, right, underneath the soil. So, especially you feel that when you do it in a group setting, you do mushrooms in a group setting, there's at one point where that energy is just going all over the place, like to other people. And then you start like, distracting yourself, you're talking to each other and so on. With ayahuasca, it's like that. You are in your bubble. You are your energy. And that energy doesn't go outside to other participants in the room.
That's such a good.
So I think mushrooms, yeah. I think mushrooms personally is a great reset. Also, like a like in the integration. But I don't think they go as deep. And like I said, the messages are not as clear as with other medicines.
I would echo that. I'm just from my own experience. Yeah. They're quite powerful, especially if you have a one-on-one healing. So like you said, so you're not intertwining with a group
Yeah.
as one. But yeah, I don't feel like they're
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're as clear or as healing from such a deep level, like you said, like your subconscious level. Like with ayahuasca,
Yeah.
I can see what she's pulling out of my purge, right? I can understand, I can feel the release of what it is and that energy and what she just pulled out, that I said, yes, let's do it, with permission.
Yeah.
And then San Pedro is more like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you how to not do this anymore and allow you to feel what
Yeah.
that feeling feels like, that you've been feeling in this negative zone, and what the feeling is going to feel like when you're in the positive zone is how I see it. Where
Yes. That's a super good point. I mean, I had experience where my mind had a negative, and then I got really sort of started to get sick or whatever. And then I noticed, no, you got to think positive. Even when you smile, right, on the medicine, you start smiling, and the smile actually gives you the positive feelings, versus going back in the victimhood or whatever, And I think also at the end of the ceremony, so 3 hours, at the end before we end, it's a celebration of life.
Yeah.
We come back and we do drum circles, we sing together, we dance together, and everybody is like brothers and sisters. And that's like my favorite part of the whole ceremony. And it's in bliss, in joy, in happiness. And this is how we need to live together, and it's a really beautiful, peaceful a ceremony, and on that mission, like I said, it's going to go it's going to go on for many hours more, but just being together and sitting around the fire and doing that is just awesome.
Yeah, I would agree. It's one of my favorite parts. Sometimes early on in my first journeys, my body was like, no, we're going to stay here, 'cause I'm really worn out. But but it's when I can make it to the circle, it's beautiful. And then the journey with San Pedro lasts quite long for myself. So I'm really in it for about 20 to 24 hours myself personally. Maybe not as like in it, but I'm definitely open, and downloads are always coming, and I'm not really tired, and so it's quite the journey. I think that's why you probably only have it for one day, right? Because that's really all you need.
Yeah, we start at like we do usually breath work beforehand, and then we start around noon, and then we basically close ceremony at midnight.
Yeah.
But then it goes on. I cannot sleep that night, so it goes on until the next morning, really.
Yeah, same here. I pretend to sleep, but my mind is like, no, we have so much to tell you.
Thank you. Yeah, we both love this medicine, it seems like.
Yeah,
it's just awesome. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, not so many people know about it.
Yeah.
And I think more people need to know about it, and try it. And it's nice also, a lot of people do MDMA and so on, but that's synthetic stuff, right? It's not good for your body if you do it too often.
Yeah.
But San Pedro is, obviously from nature.
Yeah.
It's a natural, beautiful medicine
Yeah.
that I mean, usually we do the immersion retreat every other month. So I do San Pedro every 2 months.
Mhm.
And every time I get something out of it. And I also have to mention that Hauchuma and rapé
Uh-huh.
is really, really complementary.
Yeah.
It's so deep and so extreme and so beautiful, this warrior medicine, when you blow it into your nostrils. And on Hauchuma, it is very, very, I would say euphoric, that feeling of power and alignment and beauty
Yeah,
and self-love.
I had that the first 2 times, and I would agree that it it really is much deeper and really took me into Mother Earth. Like, I felt like I literally saw myself in her womb, like, the
Mhm.
yurt was the womb, and it was like, whoosh, you know, after and I know that
Wow.
rapé really put me in that space. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been that deep in the
Mhm.
root, you know? Um, last time I couldn't because, as
Mhm.
you know, I overindulged my so my body was like, "No." And in fact,
Right.
this is a funny little thing. This is how Washuma also helps you during the process during your ceremony. I was like, "Oh, I could hear everybody." You could hear it because when you're on the medicine, everything's amplified, right? And I could
Mm.
hear everyone snorting it up or blowing it
Yes.
up, getting it blown up their nose. And I was like, "Oh, it's coming around. I could have some." And he's like, "No." And I said, "No, I really want some." And he's like, "No, maybe just without the tobacco." I said, "Oh, okay." So I kept repeating, "Yes, please, no tobacco. Yes, please, no tobacco." And then all of a sudden, he knocked me
Mm.
out. And I zonked out. And and when I woke up, it was all put away.
Wow.
That was like, oh, okay. You didn't want me to have it yet.
Okay. Right.
So that could
Oh,
happen,
crazy.
to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was
I
really
mean, sometimes also because you're so open, I thought you would have gone into, hey, you can actually, you felt the rapé without having it,
Yeah,
but you felt energy that everybody had the rapé around you. You
yeah.
actually felt it without having it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah,
That
yeah.
that could also be.
That makes sense too, because I know that in previous immersions, after ayahuasca, some people came back for the Wachuma, but they didn't actually partake in drinking any, but they still felt the medicine in circle with everybody else, is what their
Totally.
feedback was. So I understand
Totally.
what you're saying. Yeah.
100%.
So magical. So
Yeah.
magical. Um, is there any last parting
Mhm.
words you want to give about this beautiful medicine that I know we both really love?
Um, I would just say this medicine is, for me, not the only medicine to drink.
Mhm.
It's a very beautiful complementary medicine. Um, I think that some people I have come around, they're just like San Pedro um, servants, and they only do San Pedro. For my personal view, I think it's really a beautiful combination. If you do, ayahuasca and then San Pedro, or if you do a mushroom journey and then San Pedro, it's a medicine that is a beautiful combination with. Uh,
Yeah.
Um, that's how I would say it. I don't know if you agree, but just Wachuma for your healing process. It's not it's not going deep enough to really get the messages out. I think that combination with ayahuasca and San Pedro, I think, is the magic combination to really get deep healing.
Yeah, from my experience, when I did it by itself, it was more of an informational highway for me, not necessarily a healing tool. It was more, it was
Mm-hmm.
kind of putting together all the answers that I needed for the part of my journey I was on
Right.
at that moment, but I didn't feel like, wow, it was about healing." It was more, "Oh my god," aha moments, for, like, 6 to 12 hours.
Right. Yeah.
But whereas,
Right.
yeah, paired together with ayahuasca, it was just a continuation of my intentional journey for that whole week that was absolutely phenomenal,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to say that I will always remember those journeys with ayahuasca to the
Mm-hmm.
minutia, but when I did it by itself, I don't really remember everything that I witnessed. Yeah, without
Right.
reading my journal.
Yeah. I can echo that
Mhm.
for sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you are also, I have to give you a compliment also. You are, when you come, you're so intentional
Mhm.
and you're so connected with the medicine. And if you don't feel like socializing or talking to somebody, you're on that mattress and go deep and have that eye mask on
Mhm.
and you're really doing the work.
Mhm.
Because also with the ayahuasca, I think it is much easier to have that discipline.
Mhm.
With Hauchuma, there's always a door out. Oh, I go outside.
Yeah.
Oh, I talk to somebody. Oh, I distract myself,
While singing and play
So
guitar.
it's also really
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So on Hauchuma, I think you need I like the disciplined devotion, both
Mhm.
to yourself and really do the work by staying put in the present moment, be centered, close your eyes and doing the work in that way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for seeing me. And it is true. You can get really distracted on
Yes.
Hashuma because it can be a big party if you let it. But I remember on my last one, it was very raw and very powerful for me. Um, I'm sorry you
Mhm,
couldn't partake in that one because you were traveling to Europe like the very next week. But um,
mhm,
it was, you probably
mhm,
heard me scream. I screamed very loud a couple times and on your property.
mhm.
But yeah, it was really
Yeah, I heard.
powerful. And yeah, yeah, I was devoted. I wouldn't take my mask off until I was done. So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah. So thank you so much. If you guys want to partake in any of these medicines, specifically to Hashuma with ayahuasca together, reach out to Aluna Healing Center. They're my home away from home. I love them so much. Thank you. And such beautiful healing journeys and so powerful, such beautiful medicine and containers. All their information will be at the end of this episode as well in the description. Attila, thank you so much for everything that you and your family
Yes,
have
thank
offered
you.
me in my life. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you. And thanks for inviting me. And I appreciate, you being the ripple, me being the ripple. And I think that the ripple is important to make this world a better place. And these medicines are just so medical, so healing.
They are.
Uh, so happy that I get the opportunity to communicate that mission with you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I agree. Thank you very much. If something in this conversation made you feel, stirred something, or gave you goosebumps, trust it. You can find Attila and the Aluna Healing Center at alunahealingcenter.com. Their retreats are sacred, deeply held, deeply beautiful, and I cannot recommend them enough. They're like family to me. Until next time, stay open and remember, the way forward is through the heart.